Nothing quite beats the old British humour and amazing cutscenes we used to get in games.
I've never said anything like that before, have you? You beauty!
Games like Worms and Team Buddies were a prime example of this. However, we don't see too much of this in gaming today. But why is that? A term that seems to be plastered all over the internet for anything that's over 10 years old describes this game perfectly. Underrated. Sporting one of the craziest difficulty jumps in gaming history, the story mode would challenge anyone who dared to play it, leaving the multiplayer to be a fun way for you and 3 other friends to just piss about crafting small teams to conquer your frenemy's base. But what the fuck really happened to Team Buddies?
WCF, mate.
Welcome back guys, it's Elwood here from Not So Serious Gaming. Today I'm going to be covering the history and what really happened to Team Buddies. But before we can answer that question, we must first go back in time and find out how it all began. Team Buddies was an action video game created in the year 2000, developed by Psygnosis, and published by Sony Computer Entertainments for the PlayStation. Originally, this game was titled Leg It, which I can only assume by the amount of running around you do. However, just like a lot of titles that were released on the PS1 and older consoles like the SNES, the American and European market had different titles, as Midway started calling it Battle Buddies, as it was released by Midway Games in North America. Team Buddies was the last game developed by Psygnosis Camden Town Studios, before it moved to Sony, but more about that studio later on.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries.
The game is set in Buddy World, a peaceful world inhabited by mighty beings called Buddies. One day, an eclipse occurs, causing crates to fall from the sky. Discovering explosive weapons inside, all hell broke loose, resulting in the Buddies segregating by colour. This begins the ultimate fight for supremacy. As the violence spills into other regions of Buddy World, the player learns that the other teams are being assisted by a scientist called Dr. Madasalori, I think, who has been experimenting on animals in Buddy World. The player eventually meets Madasalori and persuades him to defect. However, he then later goes missing and is presumed dead after failing to destroy an enemy-run factory, forcing the player to complete this mission instead. That's you, by the way. It is later revealed that the crates came from the Baddie Moon, which is inhabited by cube-shaped creatures called baddies. The baddies drop crates into Buddy World and film the ensuing carnage for a television show. Well, now that sounds like my sort of show. Buddy Royale! But with cheese. Due to this, the player travels to Baddie Moon and is tasked by the president of Buddy World to eradicate the baddies and destroy their capital city, destroying the source of all the crates. The player later learns that Madasalori is still alive and is a baddie in disguise as a buddy. Dun dun dun! The season finale of the show involves Madasalori using a death ray to destroy Buddy World. The player is left to kill him and rescue the moon's aliens before the moon's largest volcano erupts and destroys Madasalori's most powerful killing machine. If you can overcome the game's difficulty, then you single-handedly restore peace and order to Buddy World.
You look at my daughter, you filthy scum! I wouldn't do a shit for you!
The main focus point of the gameplay is the creative ability to stack crates in a 2x2x2 pad in order to create various weapons and buddies. This will be located in each colour starting area. Stacking the crates in different ways make different items. Smash the crate open to reveal the creations you've made. This can result in various things such as a single crate on the stacking pad produces a light weapon, 4 crates positioned horizontally creates a heavy weapon, and filling the pad creates a vehicle. The battle toys created are based on the selected world, and there are 8 different worlds resulting in a crazy amount of weaponry for this game, more than I ever really knew. On top of that, many special sets will be unlocked once the player has completed the story mode, allowing you to use them in the multiplayer mode. To my surprise, vehicles can actually carry 2 crates, however larger ones can actually carry up to 3, although you will need some buddies to help you operate all this firepower. Don't worry, as the game's got you covered as who needs real life friends when you can create up to 3 additional buddy members by stacking crates directly on top of each other? Yay, free friends! These new buddies can be commanded to attack or defend certain areas and even build on the stacking pad on their own, which is kind of crazy with just how smart the mechanics were for such an old game. Furthermore, the player can actually swap between any of their buddies in order to make use of a particular unit's power or weapons, and even if you're just too lazy to move around. Like me. In addition to a stacking pad, each starting point has a large base, which can be attacked and destroyed. If the base is destroyed, the stacking pad for that team can no longer be used. This means that new members cannot be created, making destroying the base a top priority for securing victory. A team without a base is also unable to build weapons, and must rely on those dropped by the enemies or found around the map. The crates will fall down from heaven, and are typically yellow with red borders. However, yellow crates with blue borders can also drop from time to time. Adding one of these to your creation will result in the object or unit to have increased abilities. For example, higher fire rate, range, and all sorts like hit points for a vehicle or a unit himself. In certain maps, mega crates can also drop if certain conditions are met. These large grey and yellow crates contain a weapon or a vehicle not normally found in that particular area. And it can also be towed to a mech to be returned to the base. However, not behind any other vehicle. As I mentioned before, Team Buddies also support split screen multiplayer for up to 4 players. And to complement this, there's several different game types to keep the game fresh and exciting to play. You have Deathmatch, where all the players must be eliminated to win. Domination, where to win you must control the domination points that are located around the map, gain more points to be victorious. Capture, which is similar to Capture the Flag. This game requires a team to steal animals from the enemy's pen and return it to their own pen. Each capture will grant points until you reach the limit to win. Bomb Ball. The goal of this game is to carry a ball to the enemy's goal and throw it between the goalposts. Once the ball is thrown, a timer will begin a countdown. Once the timer reaches 0, kaboom! Dealing massive damage to nearby enemies. 1 point is awarded for throwing the ball through the set of goalposts, and an additional 6 points are given if the ball explodes in the goal area.
Ninja, kick your ass with blindfold! Don't try fuck with me!
Psygnosis would consolidate in 1999 into Sony Computer Entertainment, dropping their brand in favour for SCE Studio Liverpool. However, before this they had a subsidiary studio in Camden Town, which developed Blast Radius, Kingsley's Adventure, and, you guessed it, Team Buddies. However, this would also consolidate into Sony as a separate studio named SCE Studio Camden, which they then released a game called Dropship United Peace Force, before they would then merge into Team Soho, forming London Studio. As the newly formed London Studio, the studio developed the SingStar series, which became extremely popular and helped broaden the appeal of the PlayStation 2 market beyond the typical demographics of, young male gamers. This series sold more than 20 million copies in 6 years. They would also then go on to create lots of games for the Sony iToy webcam and assisted in development for other Sony titles such as Killzone and Little Big Planet. On top of that, London Studios would then go on to develop virtual reality rendering technology called NSSG.Elwood, which supports PlayStation 4 and PC. And as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure they're still going fairly strong today. When Psygnosis consolidated, it also became Studio Liverpool, which released its first title of Formula 1 in 2001. This game was also the studio's first release on PlayStation 2. This took the studio in a completely new direction. Due to the success of their Formula 1 series, they dropped all their previous games titles, which included Lemons, Destruction Derby, and their game of the hour, Team Buddies. Studio Liverpool would then solely focus on racing games, only releasing Formula 1 games and Wipeout. So what really happened to Team Buddies? I've spoken about the studios, but what really happened to this game? Due to the advance in technology, the studio had strayed so far from its origins that its previous titles were just a thing of the past. Diving deep into this new PlayStation 2 era of racing, music games and the iToy, games like Team Buddies would be placed on the shelf, never to see the light of day again. Maybe Team Buddies could see the light of day once again, if just a small indie company took it on as a project. But for now, wait, let's have a quick Google. Okay, it seems like someone kind of started making a few things, but it never really looked like they finished. So if I'm wrong and you know of someone who has made a remake, then please let me know. But unfortunately, it just seems like this game has been lost into the history of games. Even the dudes remaking it have given up on it, which just says where the game is now. I'm personally hoping one day I'll find the time to get into creating my own game of minigames. And well, if I do, this is one of the plans I have for a minigame sort of thing, to create my own weird version so the community can appreciate it. So if you're not part of my community, well, come and join and beg me to start my game creation journey so that we can play all crazy games together. But most importantly, hopefully I can figure out a way of putting this game mode into my game of minigames. I never actually owned this game myself, but when I was a kid I would long for the weekends when I'd go over my cousin's house and just have him absolutely annihilate me as we played the multiplayer mode. But that honestly never bothered me, as being a 10-year-old kid, I was just mesmerised by the bright colour palette, and I would giggle at the colourful adult language that was used between these mighty beams. I hope you have enjoyed another episode of my What the Fuck Happened series. My next one will probably be on the Legacy of Kain game series, or maybe something else, I'm not too sure. Editor Elwood here. I actually am quite sure because you guys have been requesting Half-Life. So get ready for a What the Fuck Happened to Half-Life. But I'm very much looking forward to the next one I dive into, and I shall also be playing them all live as part of my Retro Fridays, just so you can kind of see what I'm going to be working on next. So if that interests you, then hit that subscribe button and come say hi, and then I get to reward myself with a cookie.
I'm gonna kill you.
Because you guys have been amazing, where I've just been Elwood from Not So Serious Gaming. I hope you have a great morning, evening, night, whatever frickin' time it is. I hope you have a great one, and peace out, guys.
The fuck was that?